welcome you all to the third annual edition of the Economic Times Supply Chain Management and Logistics Summit here in Mumbai. Well, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our partners here for this event. Our title partner, DHL, powered by partner All Cargo, platinum partner Mahindra Logistics, gold partner Leeladhar Prasu, port partner JNPT, silver partner PDP Shipping and Projects Limited, our associate partners Pushpak Logistics Solutions, Seacall and Safe Express, our knowledge partner Deloitte, magazine partners Cargo Connect and eCargo Log, and our live webcast partner 24 Frames Digital. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I now take this opportunity to welcome on stage the CEO of DHL Global Forwarding India for the welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. George Lawson.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to extend a really warm welcome to you all here today. As we all know, the world is getting increasingly complex, more uncertain, more transparent. There are more choices. And to an extent, the world is becoming more volatile. But at the same time, we live in what I believe is a significantly better time today than ever before. And why is that? Thank you to supply chain. Thank you to logistics. So what is the proof point? Well, firstly, there's been considerable development and progress here in India and around the world in the last 50 years. And that primarily has been achieved through globalization. But I firmly believe that globalization has only been possible due to logistics. And because we've been delivering products from one part of the world to another, we're actually responsible for bringing this world that much closer. However, we face significant challenges around the globe. As you know, inequity is increasing, we have conflicts that are rising, and in many markets, the world is struggling for growth. In India, we have developing infrastructure, we have administrative complexity, we have a rapidly growing population with over 356 million people under the age of 24 years of age, making it the world's largest youth population in a predominantly agrarian economy. So to deal with these challenges, every country in the world, including India, is finding ways to develop and sustain growth. So what are the opportunities for growth? I believe opportunities lay in 4 areas. The first one is service-driven innovation. There are data-driven innovations through technology, and lastly, people-driven innovation. All of these things, including harmonised tariffs, simplified data flows, can boost cross-border trade and drive more growth. We need to work hard, obviously, at improving quality and simplifying our processes, but at the end, it's all about collaboration between shippers and consignees, between governments, between administrative bodies, between logistics service providers and professionals like we have in the room today. And it's only when we come together in a forum like this that we can create an environment that's conducive to growth. On that note, I'd like to thank you all for joining us, and I wish you a rewarding and very productive day. Thank you.
So we shall move forward with our first panel discussion for the day on the topic developing an integrated supply chain to be agile and future ready.
So clearly the need of the hour for the supply chain is to be not only robust and reliable, but also to be nimble, flexible, and a very, very fast turnaround. So in that context, I will start with Dr. Singh's views in terms of what are the steps, let's say, what government is taking to facilitate the private investments as well as smoother movement of goods.
The government has approved so many projects of infrastructure in the state, within Mumbai and outside Mumbai. If you think of Mumbai, to give you a few examples, the coastal road project has been given approval. Similarly, the Navi Mumbai airport is on the right track and the bids are being invited. Similarly, you have Metro 3 that is in place. In the rest of the state, also we have projects widening the roads, express highways, having new roads, and in all more than 50,000 crores of rupees would be the overall cost on these projects in Maharashtra, and within the city of Mumbai alone, the cost of these projects is more than 70,000 crores. So this shows the commitment on the part of the state government to go ahead with efforts to provide world quality infrastructure, especially in roads and railways and ports also.
I'll move on to Mr. Anil Digikar. What are the kind of things which are happening at JNPT, and what are the kind of actions which you have taken which can improve the robustness of the movement of goods and with more reliability?
As far as JNPT is concerned, ease of doing business and efficiency improvement, these are the major aspects which was given priority in last 2 years. And I am proud to tell you that under the ease of doing business, first time we have started this DPD facility. It has been open to all the importers, which will be saving about 25,000 to 40,000 per TEU. Any container which is imported, and if it has got a custom permission, it can be evacuated from my port within 1.5 days directly to the consignee instead of going to CFS, which will be saving 40,000 rupees. So this has been started since last 3 months, and now many customers are coming for this DPD facility.
I'll move on to Prasad, and I'll request him to talk, from a manufacturer's perspective, and especially coming from the industry, of medical devices. You have some very special needs, and what are the kind of challenges which you face?
I come with the 7 C's model for building the future supply chain model. And what are those 7 C's in the future supply chain model is like, one is on core values and culture, which is very important. So, it's like a business philosophy. Why we are in the business, what is the purpose of our business. Unlike in J&J, we have the credo, so which talks about our business philosophy, it talks about clearly our responsibilities. So I think that helps to the business. So this is the first major C I would like to define here, whereby it should be communicated wide across the employees, in the stakeholders and the functions internally and externally to set the clear priorities. The second C is about the customer centricity. So in today's world, it is very important to know what are the customer needs are, and to build the internal processes to deliver what customer wants, to build the product pipelines what customer wants, and deliver at affordable price. So the most important point is how do we connect with the customer, because earlier we used to say that that linking with the customer is only the responsibility of sales and marketing organization. But today's scenario, if you see, in future, all the functions should engage in the customer development program, not only sales and marketing, but the supply chain and all our partners in research and development, so that they get the VOC, voice of customer, that is built into our processes for delivering. And also, it also gives us the insights what's happening in the market and how do we correct our internal processes to align with the market requirements. It also gives us the feedback on our product delivery, about the quality of the products and the complaints, which gives a lot of insights. Then the third is the important C is connect and communication. After connecting with the customer, how do you translate the customer needs into our internal processes? How do you give visibility of those customer needs into our internal processes? How do you give visibility of customer complaints to our manufacturing processes? So some of the industries I have seen, the customer complaints are displayed on the manufacturing lines so that it is visible to the manufacturing staff over there, and they can take a corrective actions, get involved into this. Because the more you are integrated, the more you are connected, the agility will be more. And you can churn your information, you can turn your supply chain cycle time, you can reduce the cycle time. The next important piece is is on building capabilities and the capacities. So that is also a very important piece. So in the whole supply chain network, you need to know what are our capacities, capabilities, not only within the company, but with our partners and the suppliers and the service provider. The next important piece is the compliance. I think this is the very important element for future-ready supply chain. We need to be very conscious about compliance, and there should be zero tolerance for non-compliances, because this is the only success criteria. If you see all the successful industry in the world, the compliance is the biggest success factor in them. Moving forward, another C, and that is the sixth C which I am talking about, is the competition. How do we, supply chain provides a competitive edge in terms of customer segmentation, in terms of market segmentation, in terms of product segmentation? How do we provide 24/7 service to the customer? Because that is very important in medical devices. How do you provide 24/7 in some trauma surgeries? How do you provide 24/7 service? How do you differentiate your customer service parameters? How do you measure customer experiences is very important for us, and build that measurement into our improvements. And the last and important piece is the cost. While doing everything, how do you manage your cost? How do you work on cost optimization? How do you leverage on your partnership with your suppliers? How do you leverage on their strengths and the internal strengths and the external strengths? How do you work on tax optimization projects is the last C. So these are the 7C formula which I feel is very essential for building agility and the future supply chain.
I'll move on to Hemant. When you have multiple stakeholders and even external service providers involved, what do you think are the risks involved in managing such an efficiency in the supply chain?
I'm sure all of the people sitting here in this room, all of you who are in SCM, would agree with me when I say that almost 50 to 75% of our daily work actually is crisis management. And crisis management is, the risk has materialized. What do you do to come up with a reaction plan? What do you do to come up with a contingency plan? How do you communicate that it has happened and this is what we are doing to the entire chain? About 6-7 years back, I remember when there was floods in Thailand, and the automotive industry in India was very negatively impacted, and one of the large Japanese OEM had to shut its shop for almost 3 to 4 months. Now, we were quite actually happy doing the kind of work we were doing in our SCM, and that is more focused on crisis management. But when this whole Thailand episode happened and we had a lot of reflection internally, we said we will not continue to do the work the way we are doing. We will move away from crisis management to more like risk management in the supply chain. And by risk management, the differentiation, if I have to do with crisis management, is that instead of letting the risk materialize and then take action, we should be actually identifying the risk much before, assess the risks, and then do some management or mitigation of the risk. So this we started the process about 6 years back, and slowly we have got a full framework established.
So now I'll move on to Vikas. How do you ensure as an organization, as a business, that that if you're working with, let's say, hundreds of customers, how you align with, let's say, 100 different processes?
Yep.
And I think that will be key to success for, let's say, a service provider like yours.
There's a program called 360 degrees resilience. Now, what does that do? It looks at longer term and shorter term. So longer term perspective can be for our customers that, hey, we would look at your hotspots. So hotspot can be a single source supplier. Hotspots can be a tsunami in Japan. A hotspot can be a flooding in Thailand. And what we can do as a service provider and work long term for a very good solution. So that would actually mean that we are proactively working with, create a resilient supply chain. So that's from a long term perspective. And what happens on a day-to-day basis? If you look at the update we did today, yesterday we had rains in London, and along with the Brexit it rained as well, okay? And a lot of parts of London were flooded. So what would happen is, if there is a logistics provider or a service provider from India, auto manufacturer who is supplying parts in the UK, and it can get impacted, what would happen is a lot of people would get that message very proactively. Hey, there is rain in London. What does the team in India need to do? And what does the team in London need to do? We had air traffic control strike in France yesterday, for example, and we are globally connected. So the 360-degree resilience program of Deutsche Post DHL gives you a long-term fix and a short-term fix, Hemant. So that's what it is, looking at it from creating a resilient supply chain. So that's one part of it, creating a resilient supply chain using the 360 resilient program.
Okay, I'll move on to Prakash. From a service provider's perspective, what are your thoughts?
Infrastructure development will definitely be the key, and of course multimodal. And multimodal will succeed only when we have all this infrastructure in place. So to be future ready and to be agile and to bring the cost down, apart from whatever we have discussed here, it is infrastructure and technology and the processes.
Thank you so much to all the panelists for their views and their comments.
Welcome you all to the third annual edition of the Economic Times Supply Chain Management and Logistics Summit here in Mumbai. Well, I now move forward and invite our Honorable Minister of State for Urban Development and Poverty Alleviation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shri Babul Supriyo.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You know, in India, we are still at a stage where we are trying to understand what is smart city, which way to walk in order to reach a smart city. How is that going to be built? So I think it is the great players which are right now inside this room, and they're inside an enlightenment which is going to give us the way forward. And when I say way, I actually literally mean it. It's about urban transport and how you make the roads smart enough for the goods and the everything utilities to reach the places that it needs to reach without having our entire roads filled with vegetables in a very unorganized manner. As we know, the mandis happen in the early mornings in several important junctures of the city. We can talk about smart mobility, we can talk about smart solutions and all of that once we understand the smart city concept and how we can make it into a reality. Now, I know that the topic today here is supply chain management, but to be very honest, I would love to understand what exactly you're looking at, what exactly you mean in terms of supply chain management. So please feed us, please enlighten us with all the suggestions that you have, and I would love to take them back and sit down and discuss and see where and in what way we can make the ease of doing business not a number that exists on our files, but a number that we can actually put into practice and to change the lives of the people who actually dwell in these smart cities. And while we carry on our endeavor to make our cities smarter and reach the goals that we aspire, we should be able to do in the next few years. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you are going to enlighten me at the end of the day so that I can come back with some efforts, some changes, some tweaking here and there to make your business even more successful. And if your businesses are successful, let me talk commercial terms. If your businesses are successful, the cities only get smarter. It's very important to have the mind and the commerce work together. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thanks to Economic Times for having me here. Thank you.
This evening, we're here to celebrate the excellence in the field of supply chain management and logistics. We commemorate the achievements of the corporates and states that have contributed immensely towards the development of the country in this particular sector. So we would encourage all of you to go ahead and cheer for all of them as they come here to get felicitated this evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the transport sector forms the backbone of the modern global supply chains, and there are few states who have excelled in their transport services and have shown remarkable progress. Well, we will be going ahead and felicitating one of the states right now, for which I would request to come on stage Shri Babul Supriyo ji, Mr. Rishi Kapoor, as well as Mr. R.S. Subramaniam to kindly come and felicitate the state of Karnataka. Ladies and gentlemen, inviting Shri Ramalinga Reddy, Honorable Minister for Transport, to come and receive the honours. Forward to felicitating another state, as I mentioned before, for which I'd also request Mr. R.S. Subramanian to kindly come on stage and join Shri Babul Supriyo ji and Mr. Rishi Kapoor. There's another state that would like to felicitate here, ladies and gentlemen, that is the state of Rajasthan, inviting Shri Yunus Khan, Honorable Minister for Public Works Department, to kindly come forward and receive the honours. now move forward, ladies and gentlemen, to the corporate felicitation. There are a few corporates who have a robust supply chain management and logistics in place and stand out from the contemporaries in the supply chain practices. May I first call upon Britannia, ladies and gentlemen. Next corporate that we would like to felicitate here, ladies and gentlemen, Colgate-Palmolive. The next corporate we would like to felicitate, Flipkart, ladies and gentlemen. And the next company we would like to felicitate, GlaxoSmithKline. And the next corporate company, ladies and gentlemen, Hindalco. Mr. Subramanian, thank you so much for joining us. And I would also request Captain Thapar from All Cargo Logistics to kindly join Shri Babul Supriyoji on the stage. The next set of corporate companies, ladies and gentlemen, KFC India. The next corporate that I would like to felicitate, Lifestyle International Private Limited. The next corporate that I would like to felicitate, Marico. Next up we have Parle Agro. And now I'd like to felicitate Sanofi. And we'd now like to felicitate Snapdeal. It's time now to felicitate an individual, ladies and gentlemen, from Safe Educate. We'd love to felicitate Ms. Divya Jain, founder and CEO of Safe Educate. However, we'd request Mr. Kanoria to kindly come forward and receive the honors on behalf of Ms. Divya Jain. Well, Captain Thapar, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shri Babul Supriyoji. Thank you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we call it a wrap for the evening. I hope you all had a great time here. Thank you.
जितनी भी इस क्षेत्र में पायाभूत सुविधाएं है, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, उसको भी विकसित करने का एक काम सरकार की ओर से लिया गया है. फिर वो चाहे एयरवेज हो, waterways हो, roadway हो.
India is a consumption-driven economy, so there is a lot of goods moving. And look at our population. I mean, you can compare it, and you can see that it is essential to have this infrastructure in place. Otherwise, our costs will always remain high, and the needs or the demands are not fulfilled.
Whenever somebody says GST, I think it is equivalent to the Y2K of software industry. Okay, it's a huge opportunity in its fullest vision, which is to say that we will eventually have a unified single market across the country.
Regarding infrastructure changes, we are now constructing 42 kilometers of roads for evacuation purpose, and we'll be investing about 3,000 crores of rupees. And also, we are dealing with Indian Port Rail Company Limited, and we are constructing common rail yard at JNPT. And also DFCC will be connecting to JNPT by 2019. So the movement of cargo from Delhi to Mumbai will be very cheap and very fast.
By August 1st, our Chief Minister will be inaugurating city transport buses. That means in entire India, our state will be the first which have all cities, more than 1 lakh population, will be having city bus services.
The last final straw, which definitely needs some kind of development or some kind of intervention from the government, is all about improving the infrastructure within the cities. So, you know, when you talk about large-scale second distribution or distribution of material to your individual residences, I think that's one area where a lot of thought needs to go on.
Road
पोर्ट्स का यानी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का स्ट्रॉन्ग होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। कनेक्टिविटी अगर इजी होगी तो पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी। इसलिए इनोवेटिव काम ये है कि हम किस तरीके से रेलवे को और सरफेस ट्रांसपोर्ट को जोड़ करके काम करें, और इसी तरीके से पोर्ट्स के साथ में पोर्ट्स, रेलवेज और सरफेस ट्रांसपोर्ट ये तीनों कनेक्ट होंगे तो उसका फ़ायदा सस्ता, सुलभ और अच्छा ट्रांसपोर्ट हमें मिलेगा।